Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Professor Ming's Strategic Insights. A few weeks ago, a Japanese lady by the name of Takaichi was elected as a Prime Minister of Japan. And she was the first woman Prime Minister of Japan in all these years. And prior to that, again, a few weeks prior to that, she was elected as the President of the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP. And she was also the first woman president ever in that party. So that's a record-breaking thing for her. So that makes her the double first lady in both the party, the LDP party, and also in Japan, in Japanese politics. And Prime Minister Takaichi is now at the age of 64. She's considered as a right-wing conservative hardliner in the party. She graduated from college in 1984 and landed a job in a Japanese television station and moved her way up all the way to become an anchor lady afterwards. And you may not know, she's a music fan, and the type of music she was fond of was kind of unusual. She was a fan of heavy metal hard rock, and she even joined a heavy metal band and played drums in that band. So that's kind of unusual. And there's even more to it. She's also a motorcycle rider. She enjoyed riding big motorcycles and was once part of a biker gang when she was young, when she was in the college. So she was kind of a rebellious girl at her age, at a younger age. Prime Minister Takaichi comes from an average Japanese family. Her father works for a large automobile company, and her mother was a policewoman. So not a political family anyway. And her political career did not start until 1992, when she was at the age of 31. She participated in an election and tried to run for a seat in the Senate, but she failed disastrously. And she worked very hard for the next year, for the coming year. Then miraculously, she was elected as a member to the House of the Representatives. And she won the highest ballot votes nationally in just 1 year. So that's amazing. And she's been serving as a member of the party and serving as a member of the House in Japan for many years. And then I think it's beginning in the year of 2005, she began to hold some ministerial posts in the government and all the way up. So she had quite an abundant experience in Japanese politics and Japanese administration. In terms of her political stance and ideology, as we pointed out before, she's a right-wing conservative, and she was close to the late Prime Minister Abe Shinzo. Actually, they were close political associates for many years, and she's considered as an heir apparent to Abe Shinzo. She's a strong advocate of nationalism and aiming at the building a Japan which is powerful and strong. She also embraces traditional and conservative values. So how do these values reflect in her policies? First, in terms of national defense and security, she put much emphasis on strengthening Japan's capability of self-defense. She wants to increase the national defense budget to at least 2% of the national GDP, and she's thinking of revising the documents or regulations or laws concerning security and national strategy. She also proposed to establish a new type of, how should we call it, a new type of national defense system capable of dealing with a new type of war threats, such as from space, internet, electronic, magnetic, drones, and so on and so forth. And in terms of foreign policy, she's a faithful follower of the late Prime Minister Abe Shinzo. They're political associates anyway. And she put much emphasis upon security cooperation with countries in the Indo-Pacific region and with allies such as the United States and Australia and Canada and so on and so forth. Following this line of thinking, she placed much emphasis on the role of Taiwan. And she said it very clearly. A contingency in Taiwan is a contingency for Japan. She copied the words, exactly the word from Abe Shinzo. This type of policies require a strong a robust economic foundation. So she puts much emphasis on the revitalization of Japan's technology and industries. She put much emphasis upon things like technological innovation and upgrading the semiconductor industries. So this is just a brief introduction of Prime Minister Takaichi's political stance and ideology. So that leads to another question. How is she perceived in the eyes of Beijing or in the eyes of the Chinese Communist leaders? They called her a, not officially, well, some of the Chinese scholars said this, but it was cited and reprinted in one of the major news media in China. They called her a prime minister with an anti-China stance. This is probably an overstatement, but that's a reflection of their mentality, at least the mentality of some Chinese scholars. But anyway, one thing we know for sure is she did not receive a congratulation letter. She did not receive any congratulation letter or a telegram or anything from President Xi Jinping. So that tells you something about it. So rumor has it that Beijing did not plan a meeting with her, between Xi Jinping and Takaichi in the APEC meeting. After seeing the close interaction between Takaichi and President Trump, Beijing changed their mind. So somehow they actively rearranged this meeting between Xi Jinping and Takaichi. The interesting thing is what she said to Xi Jinping in their meeting. It is reported that she said these things. Let me tell you one by one. First, she shows much concern about Chinese military actions in both East China Sea and South China Sea. That's point number one. Point number two, Takaichi says that the crisis management between the two militaries is very important. Between the Japanese military and between the Chinese military is important. That's point number two. Point number three, she says, peace in Taiwan and peace in Taiwan Strait area is very, very important. So you can guess how Xi Jinping feels about it. And that's not the end of it. And the fourth one, she says she's very much concerned about the human rights situation in both Hong Kong and the Uyghurs in Xinjiang province. She also expressed concern over China's control of rare earth exports. And then she urged China to reopen its market to Japanese agricultural and seafood products as soon as possible. I think it's okay. That's negotiable. And last one, she calls on China to guarantee the security of Japanese citizens in China and to release those who have been wrongfully detained by China until now. And please release them as soon as possible. So like I said, I don't think that Xi Jinping will be very happy to hear all these things. But anyway, that gives you an idea how straightforward she is and what kind of a prime minister she may become in future time to come. Now, Takaichi has been in the office for about 2 weeks, and she enjoys a very high support rate in the popularity poll. She enjoys a support of 83%, almost the second highest in recent decades. But the question is, the higher the support now, the higher the expectation in future days, which will create some probably challenges for her. The challenges we can see for her now is first, of course, the economic development. Although Japan is experiencing a very good improvement in its economic achievement in recent years, but how long can it last, and can it reach another level? And to catch the coming tide is something that needs to be watched in the future. And having to do with this is its trade relations between Tokyo and Washington and with Beijing. How can they balance themselves? How can they position themselves between the two economic giants, and which is a big challenge for her and for Japan as a whole? And thirdly, if she wants to have a revived and a powerful national defense system, then she'll be facing the challenge of revising the Constitution, especially Article number 9, which may constitute shall we say this, a major challenge in domestic politics. There's a tough job on the horizon. And of course, if she still holds a tough position, and with her tough position on both security and diplomacy issues, that may bring some tensions between Tokyo and Beijing, and that's almost inevitable. So how she can navigate through that smoothly is a big challenge. And one last thing I want to mention is her behavior pattern in handling diplomacy. She shows a very active or sometimes even aggressive behavior pattern in dealing with leaders of other countries. For instance, the way she interacted with President Trump and the President of South Korea, and even with the President of Indonesia. Some people may like it, but for some conservative Japanese people, they may not like it. So I'm not sure about that. That's something that needs to be observed in the future. But anyway, well, people will think she's new in the job, and it's okay for her to be aggressive now, but I'm not sure how long that kind of positive feeling they will hold for her. And well, that again, like I said, that's something that needs to be watched very carefully in the future. Well, that's all I can say about this new Japanese Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi. And she'll be in the office for quite some time. She'll definitely make some changes in Japan's both domestic politics and foreign policy. And that will definitely have an impact in the area, in the Asia-Pacific region. But anyway, like I said, that's something that needs to be watched in the future. That's all I want to share with you today. I hope you liked today's program. And please share it with your friends. And please subscribe to it if you haven't done so. And do remember to click the icon bell. And that's all for today. I'll see you next time.